Welcome everyone to today's webinar. If you can believe it, this is the 50th installment of our Transparency is the New Green in Product Selection, Specification, and Procurement webinar in our series. So we're honored to have Master Builder Solutions and Wells talking today about the innovations that really exemplify what's happening in this space and the spirit of this whole webinar series as manufacturers really innovate to reduce impacts to transform the built environment. Concrete, everyone has their eye on concrete, and today you're going to learn about two organizations really innovating to create amazing products and solutions while reducing both embodied carbon and operational carbon while they're at it. So you're going to hear some fantastic case studies, customer stories, material stories. This is a really exciting webinar that these folks have put together for you today. We invite you to put questions in the questions panel as you have them. Some may be answered during the webinar, or at the end, if we don't get to answer your questions, we will follow up and get those answered. It is being recorded. You will automatically get sent a link to the recording in the next 1 to 2 days. You can also request the deck when you get that email with the link to the recording. You can email us back and say, hey, I'd love a copy of the deck. We're happy to send that to you. And there are a few questions as you exit. If you have a moment to answer those questions, and if you'd like to get more information from either the folks at Wells or Master Builders, you'll be able to leave that, that request as well. So today the agenda is going to be just an introduction to Sustainable Mines for those of you who are not familiar with us. I'm Terry Swack, I'm the founder and CEO. I'm going to talk a little bit about environmental performance. What is it? How is it measured? Tell you a tiny little bit about the Transparency Catalog and Project Builder and Library. Then we're going to turn things over to Tarek to tell you about Master Builders, and then Steve and Kimberly from Wells to tell you about what they're doing there, and then do Q&A. I actually changed up the agenda a little bit. We'll talk about Project Builder and Library when I talk about the Transparency Catalog next. So for those of you new to Sustainable Mines, we are the only end-to-end product transparency solutions provider in the market. We are a program operator. We develop PCRs. We publish EPDs. We also deliver LCA technical services, material ingredient disclosure services, carbon accounting, and we do a lot of training and education in the context of delivering those services, as well as outside those services to organizations looking to get more knowledge into their organizations. And we deliver innovative digital reporting tools, and you're going to see a couple of those today. We'll talk about them next, our transparency reports, our brand of EPD, as well as the Transparency Catalog, and now with Project Builder and Library. But all of our solutions, our services and our digital solutions, are designed to seamlessly integrate product transparency into product marketing. Product transparency now are attributes that people are using to make decisions about products. It's part of a manufacturer's marketing story. And now what you're going to hear today is manufacturers being able to talk explicitly about what they're doing to make higher performing products based on actually understanding the results of doing EPDs and material ingredient disclosures and continuously improving their products. So this is an illustration of our end-to-end solutions. Again, we are a program operator. We were the first to update our technical program to be conformant with the ACLCA PCR open standard. We built back in 2016, the PCR catalog for PCRs for the North American building construction industry. So that's part of the transparency catalog. We update it when new PCRs get published or new PCR projects get started. So you can always see if there's PCRs for your products or available for products in an industry. Our transparency report is our brand of EPD. The first digital EPD, we started delivering them in 2015, again, to integrate product transparency with product marketing so that manufacturers can tell their improvement stories and correlate them back to the data being disclosed in the EPD. And you're going to hear a little bit about how we worked with the folks at Wells. We worked together to create their EPDs and how they're using them. And they created transparency reports. And then, of course, the transparency catalog showcases all the manufacturers anywhere in the world creating EPDs or material ingredient disclosures, all organized by master format, so that the building construction industry can reward those manufacturers for investing in transparency and being able to find products from those brands who actually are knowledgeable about the environmental performance and material health of their products, and make sure that those products actually get into projects, again, to transform the built environment. Our brand of EPD, we call it a transparency report. ISO 14025 says a program operator can call their type 3 environmental declarations anything they want. Actually, EPD is a colloquialism. It's not even the technical term. We decided we wanted to call our report something a little bit different to indicate that it's more than a traditional report. It's more than a document that includes a lot of technical and tabular data as required by ISO 14025 and 21930, et cetera, but to literally make the information understandable and include the environmental performance information with all the other information you would want or need to make decisions about products. So when you look at the Wells transparency reports, you'll see that it's all the data is included in 3 pages. The first page is the dashboard. It gives you the overview of the product. The second page, because it's online, is a long page with all of the data, interpretation, a lot of tool tips and overlays built in to explain what it means. And then on page 3, it explains what the manufacturer is doing in each stage of the project, in each stage of the project life cycle, contributing to the performance improvement. And the folks at Wells did an amazing job of telling that story. Again, they'll talk about it, and you can go and find their transparency reports in their listing, read them, review them, download them. At the end of the day, though, what we really want to focus on is that product transparency is all about performance. And it's just another set of performance criteria that people are using to make decisions about how to make products and how to select them. And doing an LCA is not required that you publish an EPD and make it publicly available. The primary purpose for doing an LCA or a material assessment is for the manufacturer to gain insights into the environmental and human health impacts over the life cycle of its products so that they really can continue to improve the performance and be transparent about the performance improvements and the actual performance. This is what we believe builds what we call a credibly greener brand that builds trust. And people want to do business with brands that they trust. So being knowledgeable about what this information means is a huge component to building trust. And you're going to see these 2 companies today really have it down. They've got a lot of information that they've created and learned from and continue to drive performance improvement. Quick introduction to now the transparency catalog with Project Builder and Library in our continued pursuit to ensure that manufacturers who are actually making higher performing products and being transparent about it to make it possible for the building construction industry to not only select those products, but to make sure that they actually get into projects, and that you don't have to do that selection over and over every time you do a project, because now you can actually build your own collection of products, your own internal digital library, and build project specifications with the products that you want to use to make sure that every step of the way, products that get identified in early stage design get into the specification, get included in pre-construction and the bid cycle, that the subs know where to get those materials, and that in the last stage of whether you're doing a green building rating system and you're collecting the documentation for that process, everything is all in one place so that there's no longer any reason why the design intent can't actually be achieved at the end of the project. So it is a natural evolution of the transparency catalog. We've been working on this design and implementation for many years with the input of hundreds of building industry professionals and manufacturers to make this possible. And we're really excited to share with you that over the years that the transparency catalog has existed, we've really attracted a very important foundation of users. We were thrilled to find this report from ENR and to be able to indicate that, yeah, practically every organization on their list of design firms and construction firms are also transparency catalog users, and 75% of the top 50 in each of their 100 lists are transparency catalog users. So it really goes to speak to the importance of transparency in today's building and construction industry, that these top organizations are using transparency to drive projects and innovations. And so at the core of the catalog is the manufacturer's listing. You'll see that for each of these manufacturers. It's like a microsite of their company's website through the lens of transparency, where you'll be able to learn more about them, contact them for anything relating to samples, specifications, quotes, and submittal help, get all of their transparency information all in one place, and be able to share that information with others. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Tarek from Master Builders to share your innovation story. Tarek.
Well, Terry, I'd like to thank you and Sustainable Minds for the invitation, and I'd like to thank Kimberly and Steve for allowing me to join them to be in such fine company today. I'm going to turn my camera off in the interest of bandwidth, and let's get started. A bit about me. I am an engineer in our concrete sustainability group, which is just a small couple of us at the moment and growing. We help architects, engineers, and contractors with challenging projects. So especially if you've got a low embodied carbon challenge, if your owner, your client, your contractor, regulations, if they're pushing you towards low embodied carbon concrete, I'm your guy. Why am I interested in sustainability? Well, I'm a fellow traveler on the planet. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I really enjoy the outdoors, especially walking, hiking. I'm crazy about soccer, and as a science-based person, I think we got to do a better job of taking care of our planet. So that's why I'm interested in this topic. About Master Builders, we're over 100 years old, founded in Cleveland. We currently operate in the United States, Canada, all of the European Union, all of the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand. We make admixtures for use in concrete. The US and Canada is our largest group, largest business unit in our global footprint. And we all care about transparency. Why do we care about transparency? Well, we're a chemical company, and chemical companies often get painted with a negative brush. At the end of the day, we want to be open and honest and tell you that our products are not harmful, toxic, or hazardous. So that's why we care about transparency. Our basic products are found in ASTM C494, which is the spec for chemical admixtures. You probably know our products as set accelerators or retarders or all flavors of water reducers or air entraining admixtures. If you use CSI on an everyday basis, you'll find our products in Division 3. Division 3, 3000 for cast in place concrete, Division 3, 4000 for precast concrete. We offer benefits to fresh and hardened concrete, like faster setting time, and if the climate or construction schedule warrants it, or longer working time if the climate or the schedule or the project desires it. Of course, we impact strength, we impact durability, big product portfolio. Products are really products. I think we've got the best team. I think we're the most innovative group doing what we do. Numerous innovations in the last few years, but with an eye towards sustainability, with an eye towards resilience. We make admixtures that help manage the water used to clean out trucks. That's got to be disposed of someplace. Or how about if we take that water, or we take returned fresh concrete that would otherwise need to go to landfill, how about if we put that back into the next round in that truck mixer and conserve natural resources? We make rheology modifying admixtures to make concrete construction more productive. For example, to lower pump pressures or increase the speed of a curb and gutter machine, or the speed of a slip form concrete paving machine, or to place more concrete with the same size crew in the exact same amount of time. Our durability enhancing admixtures is a suite of products that all serve the function of increasing service life. Our most recent innovation is a strength enhancing admixture that literally allows us to reduce cement content. We've seen reductions up to 20% in the lab, up to 20% in the precast world, where everything is a perfectly controlled environment. A little bit less so in the cast in place world, but very real benefits there. Product transparency for us looks like HPDs for our products. You'll find us on the transparency catalog. We think we have to be on the transparency catalog. It's important to us to be with other industry leaders to show designers, owners, where we can make a contribution to your project. We publish EPDs currently to the European standard, US and Canadian standard we'll talk about in a minute. We offer red list letters or lead letters should you need them, and we offer impact reporting where we don't yet have PCRs. We can still tell you what we're all about, or what our products is about with respect to transparency. We also help our customers. We've negotiated group rates with Climate Earth and Athena to facilitate mix-specific, plant-specific EPDs that are third-party verified for both our ready-mix concrete producer customers and our precast concrete producer customers. So those are current, they're real. We help you gather data. We help you get that data to the EPD generator, and that lets you offer very, very specific information as opposed to relying on national or regional EPDs. Let's take a look at our journey to transparency through a handful of projects. So the first is a highway paving project in downtown Sacramento called Fix Interstate 5, which started in late 2007 was when it was conceptualized, and completed in early 2008 is actually started the first weekend in May. It's a highway paving project, and coincidentally Caltrans, the state DOT, had just revamped their specifications for concrete. That you may recall the Global Warming Solutions Act. You may recall our very colorful governor at that moment in time. And those regulations broadly directed concrete producers to take out somewhere between 35 and 40% of cement. In this particular project, they were very specific that they wanted 50% other than cement. If you see the trees in the upper left-hand corner, beyond those trees is a levee. Beyond the levee is the Sacramento River. This area is below street level and often flooded in significant storm events because all the drain lines that were underneath the pavement and the pavement base were all plugged up. Hadn't been addressed in 30 to 40 years, depending on which slice of the pavement you're looking at. So the Caltrans engineers penciled this project out as a 10-month project, working over 2 construction seasons, working 1 lane at a time, nights and weekends, with traditional construction methods, traditional requirements for concrete strength. The contractor asked us for 24-hour strength. They gave us less than 60 days to do some mixed design development and figure it out. And so what were we able to do? Well, the results were that we gave them the ability to drive on new pavement in 12 hours. And as a team, we took 8 months off of the original Caltrans estimate. This whole project was done in 2 months. And the actual concrete paving was done a week northbound and a week of rest and then a week southbound. The contractor convinced Caltrans to give them complete control of the highway, reroute all traffic, and really dramatically change the landscape. We were able to pull 40% of the global warming potential or greenhouse gases out of the concrete itself. And in those days, we didn't have EPDs yet, so we used life cycle analysis to validate our global warming potential savings. How did we do that? Well, we used a high range water reducer. We used a family of durability enhancing admixtures, including set accelerator, to really drive strength. But most importantly, we broke all the rules about mixed designs. We used a water cement ratio that was unbelievably low. We optimized for early strength. We optimized for extended service life. We just were completely different in our approach to this project. Frankly, other folks went after this work and didn't get there. Why? Because I don't think they were as creative as we were. And that was quite some time ago. This project was done not quite a dozen years ago. The San Francisco Public Utility Commission headquarters in downtown San Francisco. Some say this is the greenest building in North America. It was designed as a net zero operating carbon building. So incorporated in the building are solar panels and windmills and water recycling. All gray water is collected and reused in the building. The goal was LEED Platinum, which they were able to achieve. It featured some high strength concrete, and you see that 3-day strength, which meant we had a normal schedule to keep. And the engineers, the concrete producer, the architect, the city itself, very innovative in their approach. And what were we able to do? Well, we took out as much as 70% of the cement was replaced with other than cement. That's described here in this journal article that is available to you. And by reducing cement by up to 70%, we were able to pull as much as actually 50% of the total embodied carbon for the building itself, documented by EPDs. The building was originally designed in steel, and by using an innovative structural design approach with the concrete frame building, we were able to add a full story in the same cost at the same ceiling or story height. We maintained schedule, and the mix that we came up with was light colored. The architect and the owner decided they could eliminate some interior finishes. which saved materials and saved first cost, and also working with the illumination engineers allowed them to lower their total lighting requirements, which, although it's a net carbon zero building, that approach allowed them to lower their light bill for the life of the building. How did we do it? Again, with creativity. We use 4 cementitious materials to accommodate that post-tension frame building. It's post-tension from the top down. We used high-range water reducers, and we optimized for maximum cement replacement. We optimized for high-strength concrete. Frankly, it challenged us. Not every single test result was where it needed to be. And you know what? The rules in the building code for post-construction forensic testing were all developed in the late 1950s, early 1960s. So we had to reinvent what it means when you have a low break. That resulted in quite a detailed research paper, which is the subject of another discussion. How did we, moving on to Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona. Working with ZGF, the architect in their Los Angeles office, they defined what they coined at that time as stealth sustainability. There was an interesting building that had some architectural components and also had 2-foot thick walls, 4-foot thick walls and an 8-foot thick mat foundation to house a very specialized piece of research equipment. Much of this building was done in the summer, so we had hot weather, we had a tight schedule, and they were aiming for LEED Gold. And the building, these columns that you see on an incline, 30-degree incline, they're 2 stories tall, and they were originally designed with white cement in mind. And what kind of results did we get? Well, here you see this copper-clad building, the white 2-story columns offset the copper cladding, which is an homage to Arizona's copper mining history. We took 40% of the cement out of the mat and the walls. We maintained the schedule. The overall reduction in CO2, embodied CO2 in the concrete was 35%, which was documented with EPDs. The building actually achieved LEED Platinum and won multiple awards. But what I think we're most proud of in this instance is that ASU started really, they listened to ZGF and they kind of went along with the idea of documenting global warming potential. And at the end of the day, every building done on ASU's Tempe campus and outlying campuses are all done with this philosophy. It's led to 4 more projects, and I think that speaks volumes about the work we were able to accomplish. The next, and how did we do that? Again, you see high range water reducers, hydration and workability retention to manage the heat. We optimized 1 set of mixes for the walls and the foundation, another set of mixes for the architectural concrete. This building was first of its kind in Greater Phoenix to keep a normal schedule and use these high volume replacement mixes. Moving much more to the present, the California State Teachers Retirement System addition in West Sacramento featured architectural concrete, originally designed with white cement, featured self-consolidating concrete for a very unique architectural feature I'll show you in a second. Much of the work was done in hot weather. They were aiming for LEED, I think they were aiming for LEED Gold, and they had a very specific requirement to be cost and schedule neutral. This was ZGF's headquarters office in Portland. The engineer was Sacramento based. The contractor was DPR's Sacramento office. And the concrete producer is now part of the Vulcan Materials family of companies. So how did we do? Well, we got a very light colored concrete without using white cement, which resulted in a net cost savings and a 40% reduction in concrete, also documented with EPDs. In some instances, we provided HPDs. This is a each of those lift lines that you see there is nearly 14 feet. So this is a 1, 2, 3-story atrium. It's a theater at the top of the building that opens to a glass roof. It's a stunning building. That's before the seating was installed. How did we do that? Here you can see on the right-hand side, if you can imagine a champagne flute. So just imagine holding that glass, and you see we have convex and concave on an incline in both directions, and you can see that the cast in place panels match from one placement to the next. If your eye follows any of the lines up to the top of the slide. That's self-consolidating concrete, so of course it's high-range water reducers. Again, we had to manage hot weather. We optimized for SCC, we optimized for hot weather, and really we optimized around the aesthetics. We did multiple full-scale mock-ups, and frankly, about halfway through, we did a bunch of 1/2 and 3/4 size mock-ups, because as the weather changed, as materials change, we had a cement shortage in the middle of this project, which threw us all for a loop on the West Coast, drove everybody crazy. One of the biggest cement mills in California went down, and so back to the drawing board, do more mock-ups. It was quite interesting. So what does it feel to work with master builders? What's it feel like to work with Master Builder Solutions? Well, think of us as materials consultants, because we're expert in concrete, especially low carbon concrete. We advise the design build team on the front end. I suggest we start with a charrette and get everybody involved in some collaboration, and then we'll help you with your specification development. Once that spec is developed, then we help our concrete producer partners with mixed design development to meet those specifications that come out of that collaboration. I often get asked, well, Tarek, how do you get paid? And the answer is, we hope you'll specify our products. We hope you'll work with our producer customers, be they precast or ready mix, and that's how we get paid. You can't hire us. We don't consult except to work within the Master Builder Solutions framework. Key learnings. Listen, if owners and designers and contractors are very deliberate and very intentional about sustainability goals, we can take big chunks of CO2 out of concrete. And the best way to document that is through EPDs. And the earlier we start, the better results we have. And if no one has done low embodied carbon mixes in a given market, it could take us up to 6 months to make certain that we have those 56 and 91 day strengths where the designers need them to be, and provide all the transparency that everybody is looking for today. So that's that deal. And then what have I noticed? What have we noticed? You know, the federal government now requires EPDs that document global warming potential reductions against regional industry benchmarks. State DOTs, for example, Caltrans now requires EPDs. Building codes, for example, the new upcoming ACI sustainability building code will require transparency. I recognize those will take some time to work through, get adopted by local jurisdictions, but it will happen. One barrier we see is that for the most part, the construction industry has a long lead time to adopt new technologies. I think in the long term, we'll see a 30% or greater overall reduction in global warming potential for an entire building or structure. I think it's doable, it's real, we're happy to be helping. We're happy to be helping to document that. And we have streamlined the process to help our customers develop plant and mix specific EPDs. We are helping write the PCRs for admixtures in North America, so we can do our own EPDs that are US based, not Euro based. And we're constantly adding EPDs. And every time we do a mix design, we learn something about making concrete with local materials that helps us on the next iteration. So that's us. Thank you.
Thank you, Tarek. This is the second time you've done that presentation for us, and I'm still amazed and so interested in everything you guys are able to do. So Hope folks out there have lots of questions. Put them in the questions panel. We'll take those at the end. And I'd like to turn it over to Kim and Steve from Wells. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kimberly Wacker. I have spent in the industry for about 17 years, all in client-facing positions and truly trying to get into the heads of developers and owners and help them navigate the building process. I'm currently, the responsibility for my team is to anticipate market challenges. And so one of the things Wells, including Steve and I and a number of other folks, have really been on a journey of understanding what our footprint looks like, what we can do to improve processes. And I personally am interested in it as a mom and a grandma. I also, always think to myself as, how do we leave the planet in a better condition than when we landed or were born? But more importantly, if I could leave it neutral and I don't take anything away, that would be even better.
And I'm Steve Kloos. I've been in the industry now, will be 29 years in August, and just like Kim, I'm a dad, soon to be a grandpa, which looking forward to, and it's important to me as well. I've had many different hats throughout the industry, being in this long, from ready mix to precast and all in between. So off we go.
Mm-hmm. There we go. As we started our journey on sustainability, one of the things we came away with is that we have 1,200 employees who have a vested interest in sustainability. So we've been around for 70 years, but the sustainability portion of our business and our focus has really developed in the last 5. And so one of the takeaways from our process of working with Sustainable Minds is that we have 4 key tenets that we've looked at now and focused on by each one of our facilities. And one of them is, how do we use water? How do we handle energy? How do we handle mixed design and processes, which is what Tarek told us about? And then the third is actually reuse, recycle, but more importantly, how do we repurpose some of the materials that are used throughout our manufacturing process, or as we have conversations with developers and builders, how do we repurpose either some of their structures or create them so that we can add on to them versus starting from new. We are focused very much in the Midwest. I know Tarek talked a lot about the West Coast, but all of our 6 manufacturing facilities are located basically across the center part of the US. What's most interesting is every one of them is very diverse in what their cultures and what their government requirements are. Steve is based in Denver, I am based in Wisconsin, and those cultures, those government officials, and even the owners and developers are very diverse.
And also add to Kim, just with the state of Colorado now, to produce or to be able to supply, you do have to perform or have to have show that you do have an EPD for your product as well.
One of the key ways we are brought to the table, I know Tarek says they get involved early with charrettes. We actually get very involved right with the owners themselves and the developers and talk on the pre-construction and design is how do we optimize systems? How do we look at the entire life cycle? I think what's really interesting about precast and specifically what Wells does is that we have individual products, but they work together as a system. So it's not just a double T or a piece of hollow core, it's how they integrate and live together to make the entire structure. We also have installation and field services teams. And then we also come in with our sealants and our restoration team that can work through the entire life cycle of those projects. We are in every market segment that is out there, from single family all the way to warehouses to transportation and infrastructures. We build bridges and we build food processing plants and chemical plants as well and data centers. But as I said, our systems work together our products work together as systems. And I think that's what led us on the journey when we worked on our sustainable life cycle assessments and our EPDs, is that we sliced them into 2 different segments. We have architectural building solutions. So that's the artistic enclosure of the building. That's how the windows integrate with the enclosure system. And so you see a vast majority or a vast resume of different products across all of our regions, but they take different types of products to make that one individual solution. So we've created 2 separate EPDs for our organization. And then we have a structural side of the business. So think of this as the insides, what holds everything together and holds the structure up. And then we have total precast structures, or the superstructure itself. So that's taking both of those together and blending them. And so we do quite a few of those structures that take all of the different components and blend into one. But it led us on our journey to have 2 different, like I said, transparency catalog insertions. So we've got a architectural side that we did for our entire organization, and then we also have a structural side. I cannot get the slides to move forward. So as we started at the holistic and looked at the entire organization, one of the takeaways, or one of the things Steve and I found on our journey, is that each individual plant, even though they have similar processes and similar products, their EPD or their life cycle for that individual plant is very different. And so part of our next steps in our journey is taking them to each individual manufacturing location. Steve, if you want to talk a second about Denver's.
Yeah, so specifically what we've looked at Denver, not only our water consumption, but how far are we hauling our aggregates? How far is the cement coming from? And then in return, we also have that waste side, or that recycle side. We've looked at many innovations. We've heard a lot about innovation. We've invested in CNC machines and plasma cutters and things to reduce those challenges that we've come up against. We look at, Tarek alluded to, creating new mix designs and looking at new innovative ways, whether that be through admixture, Portland cements, or different pozzolans. We're taking it so far as looking at aggregates and looking at haul rates and how far do we have to go down the road? Does it make sense? How does that impact everything? And it's quite eye-opening, to say the least.
The next product that we brought to market was Infinite Facade. And so this is a complete unitized building enclosure system. So think of it as the windows and the 2.5 inches of concrete versus your traditional 6. It also has spray foam, and it's got your frame, and it connects right up to your superstructure. Very, very interesting application of precast concrete and connecting different building solutions together into one. We've got multiple applications of this across multiple regions, but then we've also got our calculator out there. If folks want to go and take a look at it, it allows you to assess your energy consumption by utilizing this Infinite Facade system in your region. So we've got them broken out by the main metropolitan energy grids that are across the US. Some of the key learnings over the years, that people are the most important part of our sustainable journey, as well as understanding our processes. And Tarek talked about it, and Steve and I talk about it frequently. It's really challenging the status quo and how we've always done things. It's thinking differently. It's reinventing yourself and reinventing your organization. And then it's the client conversations, getting in earlier, having those conversations of really what are their goals and objectives. We work with designers and developers and owners. We also engage with architects, and we also engage with structural engineers along the entire journey. So all of them have a voice. All of them have a purpose and a role and an objective. But most importantly, the building has to get built, and it has to be financially viable to everyone. So that has been part of our journey. We've got timely and accurate data collection. I think as a manufacturer, one of our challenges is understanding the source of our materials. It's also collecting that material and that information in one central location. That as we went through our journey, that was definitely one of our challenges. And that led us to really focus as an organization on how do we make an impact on our global warming potential. And that impact can then transfer to our clients. And so that's why I said we really focused on 4 tenants versus trying to take the entire apple at one time. So water, energy, mixed design, which we use a number of admixtures in our process, and then just really figuring out what initiatives we want to focus on in the future. Oops.
So yeah, so some of the bigger ones that we always look at here on the plan efficiency, and I'll speak for all 3 regions, but mainly on my own here. You know, we always are looking at different recycling, and you can see in the pictures of using the reclaimers. We've done a lot of testing and a lot of work on recycling aggregates, looking at how do we combine those with different pozzolans and different cements, such as 1Ls, reducing our cements. Also using, like Tarek alluded to, of different admixtures to be able to influence that performance. The other things that we look at that Kim has alluded to is the recycling of water is very important to us here in Colorado. We use a reclaim system here at our facility here in Brighton, where not only are we looking at using it for reusing into the concrete mix again, but also of washing of equipment and cleaning and different things. Any way that we can recycle that way. Through other innovations such as CNC machines, we're reducing a lot of our not only our costs, but then also our product, our drops, our waste, if you will. So we're better utilizing all of those products as well, which also leads to all of our job site efficiencies. We are a self-perform erector as well, so we do go out, we perform all of that. That all plays into that this whole big package of producing, delivering, and making sure that the customer owner are all taken care of, and we're doing it in the right way.
Go ahead.
Industry trends. So we talked a lot about mixed designs, and Tarek talked a lot of that as well. We are constantly looking at R&D, and we do a lot of work in our labs. We test everything from the 1Ls, the admixtures. We're looking at many different pozzolans, and not even just the ones that we have listed here with metacalins, but we've also partnered with some other sources through the universities, and looking at different products and different ways that they're looking to advance that technology as well. You know, by using the fly ash, we can reduce on some mixes up to upwards of 15% of our cement contents. With the 1L, you get an automatic 10 just off of with the limestone mixture on there. And then that also plays into the admixtures and making sure that we can reduce our cements and our different pozzolans that way as well. Sorry, I got to get caught back up here. A lot of the innovations, like I mentioned earlier, we use a lot of the CNC machines, different things for recycling of the materials, water management. All of these things play into exactly we see us moving forward in our industry, and we want to be those leaders. This is what's going to set us apart from some of our competition, if you will, or even into our industry, which we love to share and help out to make sure that this is all being shared across all regions. But back to the recycling side, I think there is a lot to gain there, and we're spending a lot of time there, with whether that be with the steel, the rebar, or any consumable materials. We're constantly looking to reduce that as well, and use those back over again.
And I just want to we want to take a quick second here and talk about 2 successful projects that we've had. Both, of course, are in Colorado right now because they're near and dear to Steve and I's heart. But I'll talk a little bit about a medical office building that we've been in the process of, and it got an infinite facade cladding on it, so it has that enclosure system that included the windows. But a most important part of this process was the early conversations with the owners as well as the construction management team and really understand what the drivers were for the project. And the most important driver actually for this project was the schedule. Getting into that job site really quickly and getting off. Again, it's on a medical campus, and so the area is very, very tight. As well as the building needs to be secure so that they can get inside of it and get dried in and get the next stages of the construction done. So it ended up being a very beautiful architectural mix that paid quite a bit of homage to the mountains in the background, which you can't see. They're off to the right of that image. But it was a beautiful structure that just recently went up.
And the DPS Ceylon is a school here in Denver. The unique thing about this as well, we were contacted earlier on by architect and a few other constituents in the school district that were very interested in not only they're going to energize and heat and cool this whole facility with all 100% electric and with solar. And we were brought in earlier on right away of where could we strategically place these solar panels so that way the structure itself could help support. Where can we put them, whether that be on the ground, on the roof. So that early conversations right away at the beginning of the projects, we can become very innovative, if you will, and be able to help work through some of these solutions and be able to bounce different ideas off of each other. So, you know, Tarek had mentioned developing a mixed design that takes up to 6 months to prove these things out. Here again, when you're thinking of your building, the sooner that you can reach out, the better. We'd love to be here to help and be a resource and give you, real life what we've done. And I don't think you'll ever hear us say no right out of the gate. We'll just say, just give us a minute and let's try to work through it and try to figure it out for you. So.
And I think that one of the other takeaways through our sustainable journey is just the openness and the transparency of what goes into our processes and what goes into our mix, and then working with partners that help us provide the best solution. And everything we do is regionally located. So all of our materials are sourced locally. Our Brighton facilities probably got the longer transportation because of where they're located, but all of our other facilities, the aggregates are all right about 30 miles away. They have the benefit of it being located real nicely to where the source of the pits are.
Well, thank you. Again, second time I've seen this presentation and always amazed by what you guys are doing and such beautiful, beautiful results. Thank you for sharing so many of your images. We are at the Q&A section of today's presentation, and a couple of questions have come in, but what I like to do is generally questions come up from the presenters, looking at other presenters' presentations. So we're going to see if there's anything you guys would like to ask one another. But one of the questions that came up, and probably both of you can speak to it, one of the attendees said, recently, we had a client turn down using a lower carbon concrete in a high traffic load intermodal facility due to concerns on strength and durability. What do you suggest to overcome these concerns?
I can start that if you like.
I would like that.
So it's interesting. What we've recently called, and I showed you since 2007, 2008, what we've recently called highly sustainable mixes have been called highly durable mixes for over 40 years. We've just started counting carbon reduction. We've just started being very deliberate and intentional. But if you think of all the way back to the Hoover Dam, which was nearly 50% replacement of cement to manage heat gain in mass concrete. If you think to the present, I told you Caltrans changed their specifications for all concrete, including pavements, in 2008. That was based on about 10 years of research and anecdotal evidence that when you have freeze-thaw environments, when you have sulfates in soils, when you have alkali silica reactive aggregates, you need to use other than cements. So there's no reason to think that highly sustainable is anything other than highly durable. They are exactly highly durable. They are exactly highly resilient. The general knock is that it takes longer to build. We can sometimes overcome that, or we can be very honest and deliberate about schedule. Precast is a great way to do that. You can push the time consumption to the precast yard or the precast factory. Cast in place, we have to be a little bit more deliberate. We have to understand the entire process. What's the footprint look like? Are we in an urban location? We're getting ready to start in Sacramento, where I live. We're getting ready to start a new garage at the airport that's going to be operational in 42 to 44 weeks and park 6,000 cars. Could you do that with highly sustainable materials? Would anybody sign up for non-durable parking garage at an international airport? I don't think so. So that's just a misnomer. It's a myth that highly sustainable is less than durable. It's 100% durable, if not more so. At the end of the day, we make less permeable concrete. Less permeable means less corrosion, less destructiveness. I don't know the inner workings of the infinite cladding system, but that 2.5-inch facade could not take the place of a 6-inch facade if it were not incredibly durable material, which is, I'm sure, been borne out by field experience and by testing before it ever went on the first building.
Well, Tarek, that's a good transition to see what Steve and Kimberly might say if they had a client turn down using a lower carbon concrete due to concerns on strength and durability.
Yeah, I think Tarek summed it up perfectly. There's not a lot more to add. I mean, we are building those durable products now every single day. That is exactly what we're trying to do. I would definitely. I think this is more of an education on this part. I think it's coming back, circling back through with those with that owner, that developer, whoever that might be. There's just a misinformation there.
Right, right. Well, you guys did a great job, and we are finishing exactly on time. So I thank all of you for your time and putting your presentations together and being here with us today. For those of you who are still here, as you are leaving, please take a moment to provide your comments back, or if you have any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask and you'd like somebody to get back in touch with you to get some responses, let us know. And thank you for taking time out of your busy days to spend time with us.
Terry, to build on what Steve just said, speaking for Master Builder Solution, and I dare say speaking for Wells Concrete, regardless of where that project might have been, we're both happy to help be part of the education process.
Absolutely.
We can do that remotely, cost effectively. I travel the whole country. Maybe we do it in person and show them, here are examples of highly sustainable, highly durable, be it for vertical or horizontal infrastructure building, it doesn't matter. We can do it. It's been done. We can do it again.
All right, you guys heard, they both offered. Let us know on your way out if you'd like either or both of these companies to get in touch with you. And look forward to the beautiful things, the beautiful low carbon, low impact buildings you'll all create in the future. So thanks again and have a great day.